On this episode, we boogie hard, 'cause it feels good. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia, one of your co-hosts. I am a space beetle, journeying through rhythm and violence to, I don't know, I didn't finish the game.
Oh, okay. That's the end of it. All right. Well, my name's Robbie. I'm your other co-host, and I'm a rapping dog using my rhythm skills to learn kung fu, driving, and cooking to impress the love of my life.
Fantastic. And who were you last week?
Okay, so last week I was Bill from Left 4 Dead.
That was a good one. I like
And
that
then
one.
I think 2 weeks ago we didn't go over it.
Yeah, we
was-
didn't. We missed
I was
those.
Spider-Man from Maximum Carnage.
Oh, that's a really good one. Nice. And last week I was the Yonoid from the NES game, the pizza, the pizza demon.
Hey, that's good. I like that one.
Yeah. And then the week before that, I was Zelda from Breath of the Wild specifically, and clearly he's already just champing at the bit to get in here.
I'm sorry.
We
it's
have
been
Chris,
a long time. It's been a while.
We have Chris McHale, who you might remember from episode 12, The Life-Saving Power of Video Games. Mr. McHale, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Man. Okay, cool. I'm a charming alien who was enslaved by meat processing plant Rupert Farms, Rupture Farms until my eventual escape.
Awesome.
Remember that game?
Yeah, I know who it is because you told me, and
Yeah, it was pretty
we'll
cussy.
reveal that. Tune in next week to know who.
No spoilers.
Chris McHale
No
is.
spoilers.
Yeah. So today we are talking about. We did an episode a little while back about video game music as like soundtracks and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be in that one. I appreciate it.
We were saving this one just for you.
Just for you.
So on this episode, we're talking about music games specifically. Parappa the Rapper, Dance Dance Revolution, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, those kinds of things. What have you on the docket today, Robbie?
I thought I would I was trying to write down like some of my memories of early like music game experiences and like think of some of the earliest games I played that I would have thought of as like a music game, and just kind of see what Chris had to say. I know he was like top in the nation.
Yeah, top 2%, man.
Yeah,
on
I remember he had
Amplitude.
mentioned that before, so
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to hear some of his
Yeah, so
stories.
Amplitude and Chris McHale introduced me to a game called Aero, which is absolutely fantastic.
Isn't that a great game?
It's
It
great.
is,
Yeah. I was playing it right before we started
I
recording.
know, we were
actually.
jamming out. It's good. The oldest one that I can remember that I really like fell in love with, there was two of them. One was Frequency, which was made by Harmonix, the same company who did Guitar Hero and Rock Band before they did Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So this was like their original like music game, rhythm game, I guess is what you'd call it.
Right.
And then the other one that I played and I actually got pretty invested in with like a really heavy duty controller was a game called Beatmania. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I haven't. Have you?
And
I don't think so.
It's basically a Japanese version of DJ Hero on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
You have 6 buttons plus a turntable that you have to spin back and forth. And It's a lot like Dance Dance Revolution.
Gotcha.
There are arcade cabinets everywhere in Japan. It's a huge thing in Japan. And actually the music's like, if you like dance music, techno, stuff like that, that's all they have. Tracks and tracks and tracks and tracks and tracks. And people still play it pretty aggressively.
Interesting.
Today. But those are the two big ones. And then the other one, an old school one, I don't know if you guys remember Tatsunoko.
No.
It was the little drum. Yeah, the drums.
Oh, in
yeah,
the
yeah.
arcades?
Yeah,
in the
okay,
arcades. Yeah.
I didn't know
They
the
made
name
a
of
GameCube
it.
version with
Yeah.
a little drum that you could take
Yep.
on as well.
Yeah. So that's interesting, like what you're saying right now, because that was one of the first things, because Guitar Hero, Rock Band, like the big ones, obviously, Dance Dance Revolution, but like I have never really gotten that into music games. And as I was doing research for this episode and I was looking at like lists of like the best music games of all time and stuff, I had never even heard of most of them. And so it's interesting that like it really is sort of a weird niche where people are really into them. Are like, oh, have you ever played Takanaku or whatever?
Yeah,
and it's like,
Tatsunoko versus Capcom's a fighting game.
Oh, because Taiko is the actual drumming style.
Yeah.
That's the actual genre.
yeah. So it's
I've
an
been to a
interesting.
I've been
It's
to a
an
Taiko
interesting,
concert.
obscure little niche, though, where
Yeah,
it's like people
absolutely.
who are into it are really into it, but there's not that many that actually transcend up into the mainstream
Right.
for the casual gamer.
Okay, so I remember I was playing Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo, and I was like also learning how to read music, and there was an actual mini game where you had to like make the tadpoles make a song.
Yeah.
And you could unlock like I think there was a couple things you could unlock. You had to like unlock his hidden song and help the Mozart whatever learn his piece. But my friend and I made a game of like making other songs. Because it's a musical staff, and it did do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So we would like spend hours just making music in the like.
And there was a
you get,
component
like 12
of that
beats
on
or something.
Ocarina of Time actually too,
Right.
where you could like compose your
freestyle.
own little song.
that was
Freestyle in the Ocarina, and we did the same thing in Ocarina. We would like spend a long time trying to make.
Have you heard? There's another one. Have you heard of Fantasia? That PlayStation 2 game was a fireworks.
No.
And the fireworks,
Oh
the
yes,
fireworks
I
would fire
didn't play
off.
it, but I know what you're talking
They
about.
would be different
Yeah.
colors per your controller on your the buttons on your controller.
Yeah.
And then it'd come up to a line, and if you hit it, the firework would explode.
Right.
That was another like really
that's cool.
Yeah, that's another really good one. But what I was going to say about like these games not being mainstream, I really like the transition that it's gone from where like, yeah, I'm a little bit old school where I like my rhythm based games and stuff like that. But people have been playing Guitar Hero, Dance Dance Revolution, Rock Band is a huge, that Beatles Rock Band is one of the best games I have ever played.
Really?
Ever.
It is. Yeah. My wife and I played all the way through it together.
It taught me how to play drums because you can learn how to do the actual drums that Ringo would do on each song. So it actually teaches you some really important things. The drum part of it.
Pro. They started adding, did you do it on the Pro or did you just use that?
I had the Pro, yeah.
Yeah, so my brother Jimmy, who's been on past episodes, he didn't have a drum set, but he loves playing Rock Band, he loves playing Guitar Hero. And just to keep up his chops, because he was an actual drummer, he bought the Pro setup so that when he wants to practice, he can
do it quietly.
Yeah, he can do it quietly, and he can play along to his favorite songs.
And play through,
yeah.
But that's the thing is like, it wasn't just the rhythm version part of that game that was really well done because Harmonix has been doing it for years, obviously. But the art style in that game put you in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and like really made you feel kind of like a Beatle. It was really cool.
Well, when they did the live at Shea Stadium, one of the songs, it was actually like you felt like the audience, they bled in the screaming, and they like balanced it in a certain way where you kind of felt like you were up on stage and people were screaming at you and you could barely hear.
I mean, the intro, if you've ever seen the intro to that game, it'll make hair stand on your arms if you're a Beatles
That's
fan.
cool.
It's
it was really cool.
Yeah.
And they added like a whole new vocal harmony track too. So if you could sing, because my wife and I both sing, we could both sing as well. And so you could both sing and one of you could take like one of the harmony parts for the whole song.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was the first time I remember doing that in a rock band.
I think it was the Beatles one where that was the first.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a Guitar Hero guitar right now.
Yeah, I did used to play.
It's, people have said that it is a very niche thing, but when you think about it, I can guarantee you, just in this complex alone, at least every other one probably has a Guitar Hero guitar
stashed away in a closet or something like that. Yeah. It does strike me though, because like I'm not that into them in general. Like I liked Aaero. I downloaded a game called Thumper recently on Nintendo Switch.
I've never even heard of that.
So it has like sort of like a rhythmic tribal like drum beat behind it and stuff, and then you're like sort of on a track and you bounce into these walls, and it all is rhythmic to
I know
the
exactly
music.
what you're talking about.
It's a really cool game.
It's a PC game. They made
and then they brought it to the Switch, so I'm playing it for the first time on the Switch. It's been around for a little while, though. Yeah, it's really cool. But
it's a VR game, too. They made a VR version of it.
Oh, really?
Yes,
interesting.
if I remember
that would
correctly.
be pretty freaky, actually. Yeah, that's cool.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I have a hard time getting into them because, like we've talked about before, Robbie, on different episodes about a big part of what I like about games, my favorite parts about games are like the stories and the character and those kinds of things. And music games are like 100% just like rhythm and fun and the challenge of the coordination and that kind of thing. And I have a hard time getting into them. They're really fun, especially like Guitar Hero. I think that was part of the magic of it, was you could get in a living room with a bunch of people and take turns and challenge each other. And it was like, it was more of a social thing. Whereas,
it is social. You're right.
It's not something I have any, like, even with Thumper, it's like I played through like the first 4 levels and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And now I'm just going back to Zelda or something else. Or, it's hard for me to play those solo. It's more of like a social experience when I'm around other people for the most part.
Well, I'm sure you recall, I mean, when we lived together.
Right.
So
we played it all the time.
We had a third roommate who moved in and had bought Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't remember, but we had Guitar Hero 2. And like, I feel like it was always going in our apartment. Either one of us was playing, and then, hey, you playing it? What song? Let me jump in. I'll take bass.
Yeah.
And that was before they even added like the vocals and the drums, like in Rock Band or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like always going.
Yeah.
And then when we got them, it seemed like the more roommates we came that moved in with us, the more instruments joined.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we were playing, I think, the 3 and 4 of us all the time.
Yeah.
Like on drums and, on the vocals, everyone was like switching off.
Right.
But it was it was pretty rare that you saw somebody playing like by themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. I feel like I've always been very competitive in games in general, specifically racing games. That's like my bread and butter when it comes to like wanting to be competitive in a video game. But I can be competitive and good in a music game and then still have some of my friends enjoy it. Because if you're doing a driving simulator with a, hey, pick up this controller and try and beat my time on the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a giant middle finger and like that's not happening. Dude. And with this, it's like you almost want to do better. Like it's not that hard. It's not a difficult task to learn, but it's something you can pick up and master really easily and then become the best if you really wanted to.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sitting here. there's one game in my life that I've been consistently really good at, and it's amplitude and frequency.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I've always been top 1% in the nation.
Right.
For this game, for high scores and for competitive play.
Right. And so even those though, there's almost a social aspect to that you were paying attention to like the national leaderboards and that kind of thing.
It's my Street Fighter.
Right.
Well, and when the Guitar Hero 3 came out, Jimmy was playing. Jimmy won tournaments into it. Jimmy's won like $400 or $500. Like he did pretty good.
Look at Dance Dance Revolution. Like there's guys who like there's YouTube videos of these guys with millions of hits on them.
It's almost like you sent me an article, Chris, not too long ago about how when arcades went away, the fighting game culture just like went to different places. Like it didn't go away. So I think there's something to that about music games and fighting games and those types of games. People who have that competitive bent with that.
What's really interesting is the only thing that survives where arcades used to survive are rhythm games.
Right.
You go to a bowling alley and it's
fun to stand around and watch people doing DDR.
There's guaranteed a DDR game.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So in that tournament, I don't think you entered. I entered and got knocked out. But it was so much fun just to watch him play.
Yeah.
And there was like 10 of us that showed up to be like, come on, you could do it, man. Yeah. And we were like cheering for him. Right. It was like almost like watching a fight or something. You know?
Yeah, and Dance Dance Revolution, I feel like can have that culture. Rhythm games can have that culture as well, where it's kind of underground, but it's also very popular at the same time. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's social. It has a niche. It has a following. Right. It has a culture.
One thing I think is interesting about, especially if you like throw Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like the heyday of those games, it seemed like for a while everybody would take a whack at it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like unlike a fighting game or unlike, I remember like fraternities like setting up Rock Band in front of the cafeteria. And we'd roll up and be like, hey, want to jump in? I'm like, yeah, okay. And everyone loves Chili Peppers. Sure, I'll play Danny California with you. And then like, cool, I'm going to go eat a burrito. See you later. Yeah. And it was like, cool. It was like this bonding.
Yeah.
It's like
and much more accessible.
Yeah. And you could also set, one of the cool functions was that like you could set each instrument on a different difficulty.
So if
Jimmy wants to play expert, and then somebody who's never played just throws it on easy.
At Jimmy if you screwed it up though, right?
Well, Jimmy would be pissed at everyone else. He was like, you guys are still slowing it down. It slows down when you guys choose easy, but whatever, it's fine. No, I don't care.
If this is your first episode and you don't know who Jimmy is because he's been getting referenced a lot, go check out our Raging and VR episodes because he was the special guest.
But it was so cool that like, because we'd have people come to our parties who never played video games before, but everyone like digs music. You could probably find at least one song on the playlist that, I really like that song.
And that's what makes video games so magical is, I mean, for you and Alec, you brought up a really good point as well. Like it brings other media together, right? Like in this case, we're talking about an interactive experience with music. Right. In your case, the thing that really gets your nipples hard is the storyline of a book or a movie.
Right.
Included in with a game, with an interactive experience, right? And music touches everybody, and I think that's what makes these games so special to me, and what makes these games so special to everybody else. And like you were saying, was just everybody wants to try it. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Everybody wants to be the Beatles. Everybody wants to be Daft Punk. Yeah. DJ Hero. There was when Daft Punk was in DJ Hero. That was like so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and even if you hated electronic music, you're like, dude.
Yeah. No, it really was. Like you said, no one ever played it alone, but there was a period in when we were in college where I figured out a way to rig up the mic and the drums together, right? Mm-hmm. Remember I would play maps and I would play. There was like two.
Like you were really.
Yeah, there was like two or three songs that I would do. Then I could drum them and sing them at the exact same time.
Well, we had an actual mic stand.
So, yeah.
So that helped because we were actual like. I remember when you had that mic set up, I did the same thing. I'd like try and play like Queens of the Stone Age and sing along.
So, but I do think there's something to that. Like music is universal, and and I think there's something to the controllers for those games. Like you can do left, right, right for drumming. You can like mash a button and hit a stroke. Yeah, that's more accessible than turning and looking and throwing a grenade and crouching. Like it's more accessible than a first person shooter or something like that.
Right.
As much as I'm not a fan of, this is a whole nother, I'm going to piss off a bunch of your listeners probably. As much as I'm not a fan of Nintendo, I think because this was around the time when the Wii came out.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the Wii pumping out all those peripherals and those, third parties, first party.
Right.
Wii handles with the tennis crap or whatever.
Oh, God.
I think Sony, you guys are shaking your head like you want to puke.
Yeah.
I think, but it worked. I mean, Nintendo made a shitload of money off of that. And I think Sony and Microsoft saw that opportunity and were more than happy to jump on the bandwagon with a company who's saying, hey, we can make a game for that if we can make an extra controller.
Okay, but then why doesn't it matter? Why not now? Because people don't like it now. When the new Rock Band came out, they even had to come out with the Bluetooth thing so you could sync up your old instruments. And Mad Catz is now going under.
You know why?
Because they tried to support that.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I think the market has turned to the point where we're bringing back classics. And that's what people care about, the nostalgia, not necessarily. And the same thing goes for digital downloads and stuff like that. People don't want that shit building up dust in their house anymore. They want clean, quick, easy access to stuff that they've always loved. That's the important part.
Mm-hmm. So you saw the Guitar Hero in my corner. I can't get GameStop to take it. That's why it's
right. Yeah, they don't want it.
I'm like, please, will somebody please take this?
And so like I don't know if I said it. Let me just go on the record. I don't like music games just in general. And like the Rock Band,
Except for Aaero, you can say it.
No, I mean, like, I like them okay, but it's like...
And you played Guitar Hero a lot.
for the social reasons. But for like, I never went and bought the guitar. I never went and bought like the Rock Band.
All your bro-tatoes had it, dude. You didn't want to spend the money on
it. But if they didn't, I wouldn't have bought it.
Really? You don't think so?
No way. Hell no.
But that's a whole different topic.
But let me say this, because we talked about this with E3 and we talked about this with a couple other things about like with the Kinect, how it was this really great like social thing, and it like it had like a little bit of a lifespan and then it just died.
And it died, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason gaming won't transcend the like just pick it up with a controller, play that thing, and then be able to put it down. Like having all that extra hardware and all that stuff is a barrier.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, then you hear about these people who are blowing $1,000 on Oculus Rift and VR.
We talked about that on our PC episode, though, like the PC versus console thing. Like a console, anyone, I think Rhino said it, like anyone can go out and spend $400 and get a PS4 Pro and some games and just start. If you're going to do a PC, though, you have to like research, you have to buy gear.
So I wanted to ask you guys, well, first, are you a musician? Like, do you play other...
I have produced music. All the stuff that I have produced, I used to DJ, actually, and made pretty decent money doing it.
Yeah.
Had music blogs and stuff like that, but I wouldn't necessarily call myself a musician because I don't know how to play a classical instrument aside from the drums.
So, yeah, I was kind of curious what you guys thought about the, like, correlation or crossover point between the ability to play music and be really good at a music game, because you were in the top 1% and you're not like, classically trained. But my brother isn't a guitar player, but he was a really good drummer.
Right.
And he did really well too. He'd win tournaments. Music
and rhythm games are by no means like playing an actual instrument. Even when it comes to DJing or producing music on a computer, it doesn't matter. This is something purely the same way that Street Fighter is by no means the same way as going to an MMA match and beating the shit out of somebody.
No, I wouldn't go that far, because there are skills you have to have the ear for it.
Well, you do have to
for the music.
You're right.
I don't have to be like, well, I can still throw a decent hook and I'm pretty good at Street Fighter. I mean, there's no correlation.
Music
there,
games are largely hand-eye coordination, and music. There's so many other things that go into music, and music is in its own way. It is a language that you have to like sort of learn to speak and have to get versed in this like the semantics of it and stuff. But then you have to learn how to create things out of those basic rules. Music games are on rails, right? And so in that way, I don't think they're comparable at all.
Exactly. And most music games, even like, I guess Rock Band can be changed a little differently because they had so much different genres built into it and stuff. But like the rhythm games that I played were, and I love electronic music. That's what I've listened to my entire life. And that's why it resonates so well with me. But most of it's four on the floor beat. There's no crazy patterns or anything exciting you really have to learn.
Right.
And you're right. You do train your ears. You do train your mind to learn that, and then take that.
Yeah, I think it could train you rhythmically, but it's not going to train you to go out and like write an album.
No, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So I think I think the devil's advocate position here a little bit, because I still think though that if you are really good at music games, I bet you could pick up an instrument easier than somebody who sucks at music games. If you've got that raw natural talent, or even if you've put in the time, I think you are putting in some of the foundational groundwork of being a musician.
I think for percussions, I agree with you.
But it's still just like so fundamental for even being a singer, for being a guitar player, for being a bass player. Well, maybe not singer, right? Because that's more like you either got vocals or you don't. But even then, I mean, I don't know.
Well, no, yeah, maybe. I mean, like knowing how to sing in rhythm with the music around it, maybe Rock Band would kind of guide you there, because it sort of shows you the guidelines and stuff, but you sort of have to come in and sing on top of that stuff. Yeah, and know where to come in, and that's
right.
Thing.
And if you get off and get the rhythm off, I mean, you're going to tank your score. I mean, could you really be like an expert level whatever, top 1% in the world and then like not have any talent at all.
So I don't think, maybe drums, like maybe if you drummed on Rock Band, you could then translate that over because the set is similar. The set is similar, but you can't, I don't think you could go from playing a lot of Guitar Hero to picking up the guitar and playing the Trooper solo.
No, like, I don't think so either.
You could maybe get away with Smoke on the Water, like the first chord.
But I think...
But even then, you have 6 strings and you have to like find the notes. That's a whole lot different than like 5 buttons, whereas...
I agree with you.
If you hit that whammy bar right, that's all you need.
All your problems.
I'm not saying I think you could pick up the guitar, because playing it is fundamentally different. But I think you would actually be better off... I think you're setting the groundwork. I think at that point, all you really have to learn is the fretboard. You've already kind of know how to strum. Not really strum, but you know the rhythm. You've been listening to it and trying to apply that.
I think we're saying the same thing 2 different ways. So I think you're right. I think you could take that and then possibly go and like pick up some sheet music or some tab stuff and like know how those...
What I want to bring up.
Something that's on rails with a real instrument, I think you could then teach yourself to do that after playing a music video game. But I wouldn't teach you to like be creative within music or something like that. But I mean, if you did it after a while,
I'm going to call bullshit about the creativity part. Okay. Because if you play...
You were on my side a second ago.
I was, but the devil's there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. If you play an old game like Frequency or the original Amplitude, because they remade it. Yeah. Those games had a set track list, right? What was cool about Frequency and Amplitude was the tracks were laid out on a grid. Mm-hmm. And what was really great about it, and this is where I agree with you wholeheartedly, if you listen to a song as a singular object, I really truly believe you're doing it wrong. Because there are so many different elements in a song that make it that.
Okay, so that I could see. Like it trains you to hear the different parts of music.
So with Frequency and Amplitude, you would one of the scores you could get was a drum track. So you do the drum track with your fingers, and then you'd roll over to the bass line and you do that with your and then you'd roll over to the chorus or the vocals and you do that. Then there's a synthesizer and you roll around this circle, and that's how you build up score in the game. Okay. It's really, really cool. But the kick-ass thing about the older games was you could do a freestyle mode where you could actually remix each part of the song, and they would separate it.
Interesting.
And so you would do...
Okay, so something like that, in that type of scenario,
it allows you to become almost... I would say a remixer, but in the very, 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 very...
Most music games don't do that, though. It's sort of like play this song, do this beat,
in a very
match this rhythm.
In a very numbed down for dummy situation, you become an audio engineer. You're remixing your own track, and you're creating your own drum beats off of just basically sampling.
I'll give you the exception. I won't agree with you broadly. I won't agree with you broadly.
I by no means am saying like you could just go rip solos, but I do actually think if you in order to be like that good, you put in a lot of time, and you really do dig into those tracks. And I can't help but feel like you'd be growing something there.
Alec, hear me out on this, okay? My goal is to convince everybody of this.
You're not going to succeed. I know. He's got that look on his face.
I know you're not a big fan. Like, there's a bunch of, I'm going to compare this to cars, right? Okay. And racing.
Shoot.
You have Formula One, you've got NASCAR, you've got WRC, you've got all these racing, like real racing stuff, right? These high money, high paying teams who spend billions and billions of dollars on their cars racing to be the top number one.
Right.
There is now a very, very large fund for these teams to find kids who are playing racing games and put them in real cars. And not only are they putting them in real cars, these kids are winning.
Is that a fair comparison?
Absolutely. I think so. I
don't know.
And that's me playing devil's advocate. It goes with any game, I feel like. If you're a person who's really good at a racing sim, they're so realistic now. Yeah. You could put yourself in a car and play.
Okay, no, so I do agree with that. Right. Like racing sims are very realistic. Right. Music, I don't feel like music sims are. There was one exception where there was, I can't remember the name of it, but you could actually plug in this just occurred to me.
Rocksmith.
Rocksmith.
I was using it.
You could actually plug your guitar into it and play a 6-string.
Did you hear that? Say it again.
No.
It's different.
I brought it up. Yeah, and I did play it, and it was awesome. And in that way, I would agree. Sure. I would agree 100%. You could play that, and you could learn to play the guitar.
But that's because you're actually playing on a real guitar.
Yeah. So,
but gamify it. What's
it is
bad about gamified?
It is gamified. No, right. I'm agreeing. I'm saying if you played Rocksmith, you could learn to play the real guitar 100%. You can't learn to play the guitar other than the rhythmic and like having an ear for different parts. It is important, but it's not the same thing as learning to play the guitar. So I'll agree with you on the driving thing. Good that is a good analogy. And if you were doing Rocksmith, yes, but Rock Band guitar to real guitar, not so much.
I'm going to shamelessly plug here. If you guys think of any games that have helped you become better musicians, feel free to send them to us.
So you're going to agree that as long as we're not talking about vocals or drums or Rocksmith or the DJ.
No, I think drums on Rock Band.
You've got one more. You just need your pinky finger.
No, I think drums on Rock Band because the tools that they give you are closer to a real set.
No, I know you will. I know you're agreeing on
the guitar of Guitar Hero and the guitar of Rock Band is not close to a real
I also
guitar.
want to point out that there's a pro version on the piano.
Oh,
and I played that too. There was a mighty
where you
adapter.
could plug in a MIDI. Yeah. See, okay,
so if you're playing,
if you're playing,
yeah. Well, you could buy. I actually had like my wife's piano that it was.
That's what I'm
piano.
saying. We're saying the same thing two different ways. If you're playing a real piano into a game, that's like playing the piano. It's the same damn thing. If you're playing the drum set on Rock Band, it's very similar to a drum set.
I completely agree with you.
5 buttons on a plastic stick is not the same thing as 6 strings on a guitar.
I agree with you that you cannot pick up a guitar and play it. I agree with you about that.
Yeah.
I just think that there is some really foundational groundwork that if you're truly playing on expert level, like you're getting like those high rankings.
Yeah. Let's be honest, that orange button on the guitar fucking sucks. That
the sixth
button,
right? Yeah. And pianists,
the man breaker.
Pianists use that all the time. I would almost agree that it does help you build up that foundation of muscle movement and muscle.
We're saying the same thing two different ways, boys. That's just about our time, gentlemen. Chris, Mikhail, do you have any final thoughts? Thank you for being on the show. Do you have any final thoughts on music games for us?
Do yourself a favor. Go buy a crusty old PlayStation 2 for like $50. $100, whatever.
Yeah, now I want to play Frequency and Amplitude and stuff. Those actually do sound really cool.
I'm telling you, buy those games. They are $3. Solid if you wanted to get into music and rhythm games. I agree with Robbie. It makes you become Mozart. Whoa. Just kidding. Seriously, go buy them. Go play some rhythm games.
I withdraw all my comments about us saying the same things different ways. Robbie, closing thoughts for you, sir.
I really miss the era of like, I think some of it is just like where I'm at in life. Mm-hmm. You know, my kids would just break my plastic guitars and shit.
Right.
I do miss the era of like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. I had a lot of fun. Even now when I go to my brother's house, he'll be like, you think the kids will let you play around? Come on, bro. Like, let's just get one in. I need my bass player, you know? So... Yeah. And we still do it. My wife will grab a mic, and if the kids will let us, we'll like still play a couple songs. I really miss the era of music. I know interest.
It's still alive, man.
Yeah, I miss the band though. I want to get the band back together. When it comes to solo music gaming though, I just go, I should go practice my guitar. I should go practice bass.
That's my final thought about our whole conversation about like, oh, does it teach you? Like, just go buy a fucking guitar and just learn to play the thing, or just go buy a drum set and learn to play the thing. Like, why you don't get if it gets you into it accidentally, that's awesome. That's a win. Go learn to play that instrument. That's really cool. But if that's in your head and like to go learn an instrument, just go buy the damn thing and just learn how to play.
Rocksmith works really great.
Watch some YouTube tutorials and do whatever. And just learn to play the damn thing.
If you do want to do the gaming thing, like Rocksmith works really well. Yeah. I've been like dusting off the rust on my bass using Rocksmith, and it's been great.
Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please go listen to every other episode.